We will now turn towards China, which is in many ways, you'll tell us if I'm wrong here, the opposite of the US, with a strong central planning for an energy system, which in so doing is adding energy capacity more rapidly than any other country in the world. Professor Zhang, perhaps you can tell us something about what we should expect to see happening in the world of energy in the next 10 to 15 years in China, and maybe how that compares a little bit to the rest of the world. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's really a great pleasure to be here to join the very interesting discussion, and also give me an opportunity to share with you some of our perspectives about China's energy and CO2 emission. And just the moderator mentioned, so I'm very important. I know what his meaning because China is the largest energy consuming nation in the world. And last year, the total primary energy consumption reached 3.7 billion tons of coal equivalent. And if you look at the mix, the energy supply mix, so we will see still 66% from coal, and also the oil accounted for approximately 19%, and natural gas 5.8%, non-fossil fuels, that means nuclear plus renewables altogether, so it's about 9.8%. So you can see coal and fossil fuels and particularly coal still dominated our energy supply mix. And also for the power generation, so China, the power generation capacity also reached about 12,000 gigawatt last year, and approximately 65% from coal. And natural gas is about 3.5%, and also at the renewable recently for the past two decades witnessed a very fast growth, but right now the share is still very low. For example, China is the largest installation nation of wind turbines, but the contribution for power generation is only 5.2%, and the solar energy and the nuclear is about 1.2%. And but for the renewable, the hydro, so for the power generation, the share is very high. It's approximately 21%. So this is the situation of the energy consumption and the power generation. So from this supply mix, we can see it also lead to the China become also the largest carbon dioxide emitter in the world. So and right now we know and approximately 1/4 of the total carbon dioxide emission in the world comes from China, and more importantly, approximately 60% of increased carbon dioxide emission from China. So and this is why it happens. So I think it's very much related to three major drivers for China's energy consumption and also CO2 emission. So one is the industrialization, the second is the urbanization, the third is the modernization. So because in the near future, these three major drivers still in place, so we can expect the China's CO2 emission and energy consumption will keep going up. But we believe the growth rate will be going down. So according to our recent projection, this based on Tsinghua MIT joint research project. So by the year 2020, so China's total energy consumption could be approximately 5 billion tons of coal equivalent, 5 billion. And by the year 2020, it could be 6 billion tons of coal equivalent. So and also, if really in addition to address the CO2 emissions, China have to also address the very serious domestic environmental challenges. So I'm very happy. I'm very very thankful for the invitation for me to come here, because because I sit here, I get rid of the smoke. So in Beijing, so for this couple of week, for this week, Beijing the smoke is very serious. The pollution index is soaring very high. So I should very much thank Mike invited me to get here. So and also to address not only the CO2 emission issues, also the air quality issues. China should take a substantial efforts for the promote the renewable energy and the non-fossil fuels. So according to our projection, so by the year 2020, the non-fossil fuel contribution could be 15%, and by the year 2030, it could be 25%. And so after the year 2030, the increased energy consumption could be supplied by the non-fossil fuels, the nuclear and the renewables, such that China's CO2 emission could peak so at the year 2030. So this is the pictures. But the big challenge is the China's economy, population is very huge. So to address this, the challenges, we take substantial efforts, and also we need, of course, we also need a policy. Yes, we are very centralized planning nation. So China's policy approach is largely top-down. So for the past 10 years, and for example, so we have energy planning exercise from the central government to the county government, the lowest government. So in China, and the critical work of the energy planning is to set legally binding targets for the energy, CO2 emission, and the renewables. So and this target can give a signal and message for mobilizing the social resources to water areas. So I think it's very important. In addition to the national legally. In addition to the targets, and also there is also an approach, it's very unique in China, this aggregating the national targets into provinces. So make the provincial governors and even the large the leaders of the industry be responsible for energy conservation and CO2 mitigation. So and there is an agreement between the government and the major energy consumers and the CO2 emitters. So in China. So this is a so-called command and control approach. But we also recently China learned to use market-based policy instruments. So including the tax policy and also the bond and the energy conservation subsidies, investment, and renewable energy, renewable electricity feed-in tariffs, and the electricity surcharge for renewable development. And also recently, so for the past 3 years, China started cap and trade emissions, carbon dioxide emission cap and trade pilots. So in the 5 cities and 2 provinces, including Beijing. And right now, according to just after, the third party's plenum has already set very directions for further reform China's economy, and also come up with very specific directions for reform China's energy and climate policy. So according to the new reform initiative, China will build a national cap and trade scheme by the year 2020. So, and just yesterday, so I received a call from the National Development Reform Commission would like me to join a meeting next week talking about the setting of the national targets and how to disaggregating the national targets to the provinces, and what kind of key approach to allocate the CO2 emission into enterprises. So, and that means this is serious, because the central government have a roadmap to the central government. The central government or the state council request the national development information to formulate a roadmap. So, and the major work should be finished by the end of this year. So I think this is maybe the so-called top-down approach, so based on China's political system. But I think that this is the story for the recently. But this is a part of the story was recently. But also there is a new, I think, momentum, and because this is the social awareness about environmental pollution and the climate change in China has been raised. As most of them, and I think because the rise of the social awareness make it possible for more easier to implement China's this climate energy policy. Okay, it's largely due to the smokes. Okay, thank you very much.
Mr. Zhang, I'm struck again by a couple of things. One is that with the central planning approach, the dimensions of change that have been achieved in China in all areas of energy use and dwarfs other economies and other host nations. So it's quite a remarkable achievement. I'm also struck, and some of us listened to Dan's talk last night, another talk on communications, and how you can take different numbers and lots of very interesting facts coming out. One of which is, the tremendous growth in renewables and in solar and others, which is also quite spectacular. At the same time, the growth in coal and the dilemma that creates to meet the societal needs for energy in China, and how do we balance those? So we'll talk about that. But think of that as as you think about rates of market penetration and what it would really take to have a greater percentage, for example, of renewables. It's just it's an important aspect.